The spinal fluid gives us a really important look, a window, if you will, into what's happening in the brain. We can actually analyze the cells of the fluid that's bathing the brain. So we can see how the brain is clearing the proteins that build up abnormally in diseases like Alzheimer's.
So these proteins accumulate over time as we age. And once they accumulate to a certain point, there may be too much brain damage for us to really do anything that will be beneficial. So we're looking at the point at which we can intervene successfully before people have advanced too far and there's too much brain damage that occurs.
We know that there are two proteins that Professor Alzheimer even identified back in the early 1900s that actually changed during Alzheimer's disease. One of those proteins is called amyloid, and the other protein is called tau. Those proteins are in your brain all the time and they do normal things. And in the case of Alzheimer's disease, they start to clump up or they form big sticky aggregates. We do both spinal fluid analyses and we have images of the brain. Both of those things are valuable. The spinal fluid is particularly valuable because we can see the changes in amyloid and tau earlier, perhaps 5 to 10 years earlier than we can see the changes in an amyloid scan of the brain. The amyloid scan of the brain is useful because we can see where in the brain it's changing. The spinal fluid just says somewhere in the brain the protein is changing, but the image will tell you where it's changing. It's really important that we don't look at just one measure of functioning. So it's not just a brain scan, it's not just the memory and thinking tests. If we can include bodily fluids and fluid measurement into that mix, that gives us a critical insight into how all of these operations are related. We're really concerned with changes within a person, within an individual. So it's not so much how your testing compares to someone else who might be much smarter or not as smart as you. It's not really about that. It's really about measuring change within a person.
So it's really critical, and our study is one of the few in the world that does this, to have people come in time and time again, once every year, once every 3 years. And our participants are amazing because they do this. And that's why we're one of the leading centers in the world at figuring out how these things change over time.
The more we know about dementia, Alzheimer's, the better off we all are. And to keep putting ourselves in the best position to learn more, but to increase the amount of participants that we actually have.